The diet and weight loss industry is a $71 billion industry. And despite that, 95% of diets don't work, which leaves people wondering, why am I not losing weight? If you've ever had that question, I'm going to dispel so many myths. This video is gonna get a little bit spicy, just let me warn you, but check it out. Hi, my name is Tiffany Toombs. I'm a high performance mindset coach that worked as a personal trainer in the fitness industry for over 20 years. Now, there is a very real reason why I made the switch from being a personal trainer to working on mindset and helping people heal trauma. There is so many myths, as I'm sure you already know, in the fitness industry, and I'm going to share with you today two of the biggest reasons why people fail to lose weight in the way that they want, or why they do that yo-yoing, why they lose some weight and then put it back on and rebound and gain more back. And then I'm going to share with you what you can actually do to lose weight for good and keep it off. Let's get into it. I have had so many clients come to work with me over the years that say things like, I am working out 5 days a week and I am eating totally clean and the scale is not moving. My clothes size is not budging. What is going on? One of the biggest reasons why people fail to lose weight is that they're actually storing unhealed trauma in the body. Now, I know that this sounds completely ridiculous because nobody in the fitness industry has ever talked about it before, but bear with me. I'm going to explain how our body holds trauma and why that means that you're less likely to lose weight. Now, in order for you to understand how the body holds trauma, I want you to know that trauma is actually part of the human condition. And trauma is not necessarily the event itself, but it's any situation in which we perceived we were either unsafe, or there was a lack of security, or that we wouldn't be loved or accepted for who we were. Either of those perceptions will cause us to have a trauma response in the body. And then here's how we end up storing it. I want you to imagine that you have a garbage can in your mind, and all the unresolved negative emotions that you've never actually allowed yourself to deal with are stored in this garbage can. Now, for most of us, that's every negative emotion we've ever had because we never really learn how to deal with our emotions, right? The baby is born, and when they cry, they're soothed, they're rocked, their diapers changed, they get things put in their mouth to feed them, and then they grow up to be a little bit older and they throw a temper tantrum and they get in trouble, they get sent to timeout, maybe they get a spanking, they get a little bit older, they get in a fight with their siblings, they're told, go to your room and come back when you're in a better mood, right? So now they're being isolated from their tribe. We never really learn how to deal with our emotions, and so instead we just shove them all down. Sometimes with food, sometimes with alcohol, sometimes we just shove them down and hope they stay. It's kind of like holding a beach ball underwater. Eventually, when you're not paying attention, that beach ball is gonna come popping up. So we've got this garbage can in the mind. Let's say the first time that you felt angry, you were 2 years old, your mom took you to the toy store, would not buy you the toy that you wanted, and you had this emotion. Now, the 2-year-old doesn't have the mental or emotional capacity to deal with this emotion. So what happens is they create an imprint of that emotion in the mind and body, and they start to fill up this garbage can. Now, any time that you have felt how that 2-year-old felt throughout your life, you've added another link to the chain. Now, that's just anger. Then we have sadness. Maybe you first felt sadness at 3. Same thing, you've started to fill up the bucket, and every time you felt how that 3-year-old felt, you've added a link onto the chain. Then we have fear. Maybe you first felt that at 1 year old. You added to the bucket, and every time you felt how that 1-year-old felt, you've added a link to the chain. And then we have guilt and shame. We tend to feel these a little bit later in life, like 7 or 8, but it's the same thing. We fill the bucket and we add a link to the chain. For most of us, our emotional bucket is full well before we even hit 18 years old. Now, here's what we know about holding on to all of this emotion. Firstly, whatever age you were when those imprints were first created, part of your psyche gets stuck at that age. If you've ever heard the term inner child healing or people needing to do inner child work, this is what it means. Part of their mindset got stuck at 2 years old, at 3 years old, at 1 year old, at 7 year old, whatever it is. And under times of stress, or any time that that bucket is full, they revert back to that age that they were when those imprints were first created. And so road rage is not how an adult responds to being cut off in traffic. That's the 2-year-old throwing a temper tantrum for not getting what they wanted. The other thing that we know is that holding on to this full bucket of negative emotion is incredibly toxic to the body. And the longer we hold on to that emotion in the body, the more toxic it becomes. I want you to almost think of it like it is a poison that you keep locked away from your children. It would be so bad to drink, right? It's so bad for the body. But then we hold on to all these negative emotions that become more and more toxic over time. How does this relate to your weight loss? Good question. I'm getting there. What happens is, the body's way of protecting itself, because if this toxic emotion stays there, we end up getting sick, or we end up getting a disease or a condition. Things like cancer, liver disease, fibromyalgia, anxiety, depression have all been linked back to holding on to unresolved negative emotions. And so what happens is the body attempts to protect itself by wrapping that emotion in fat. Fat becomes a buffer that won't transmit the toxicity out into the rest of the body. So even though you might be doing everything right, you're working out, you're eating all of the right things, if your body is not letting go of the fat, it's because you're literally asking your body, I want you to choose between being thin and poisoned or being a little bit overweight but being safe. And so when we start to heal the trauma, when we start to release the emotion from the body, because the only way that we can release stored emotion is to feel it, when we start to release that, the weight falls off. And I have seen this time and time and time again with client after client after client, where they'll be doing all the right things, and as soon as we start doing the trauma healing work, the weight falls off. Their body will no longer allow them to eat crappy foods or have those junk days. They just don't want it anymore. And their body has no reason to hold on to that fat now. So that is one reason why you might not be able to let go of the weight that you're holding on to. Before I get to reason number 2, I want to hear from you. Have you ever heard that stored trauma will stop you from losing weight before? I want to know. Go to the comments below and let me know. The second reason why you might not be able to lose the weight that you're looking to lose, even if you're doing everything right, is because your body is in survival mode. When we're holding on to all that unresolved trauma and emotional baggage from our past, what happens is our body becomes addicted to stress hormones, namely cortisol and adrenaline. Now, cortisol actually encourages the body to put fat around the belly area. Also, when cortisol is constantly being produced, it stops our thyroid hormones from being able to be produced at the rate that they need to be, which causes our metabolism to tank. But that's a whole concept for another video. When our body is in survival mode, it literally feels like we are in a drought or a famine, and it only cares about survival. And any time that we ask it to lose weight, the body just goes deeper into, no, we're about to starve to death. I can't lose all of this extra weight that's keeping me warm. That's an energy source for down the road. I couldn't possibly do that. So we have to pull the body out of survival mode. We have to pull the body out of believing that we're in this place of famine, and we have to rebuild the metabolism while we are going. Now, how do you know if your body is in survival mode? Here's a couple of the most common signs. If you have regular intrusive thoughts, just super negative thoughts that pop up out of nowhere, that is a sign that your body is in survival mode. Because those intrusive thoughts, those worst case scenario thinking, is what your body does to help you stay safe, to predict what could harm you or what could kill you in the future. Number 2, you don't feel hungry in the morning. You don't want to eat. You just want your black coffee, and that is it in the morning. We are designed to eat breakfast in the morning. And I know all the fasters are going to come at me, but there is more than enough research to show that fasting is not a long-term solution to weight loss. And in fact, it's not something that should be done on a regular basis. Number 3, you feel tired all day except after a workout. And the reason that you feel good after the workout is because you've just gotten a hit of adrenaline. And so of course you feel good. Adrenaline feels exciting to the body, but then we get real tired again after. You struggle to sleep at night, and maybe you wake up with the cold sweats in the middle of the night. That's because your body's like, hey, we don't have enough resources to produce cortisol. We need to take a little break. And so adrenaline has to take over. And so in the middle of the night, you're getting that adrenaline hit, and that's why you wake up in the cold sweats. If your hands and feet and nose are always cold, that is another sign that you are in survival mode. So now that you know the 2 biggest reasons why people aren't losing weight when they're doing everything right, how do we deal with it? Before I get to that, I want to remind you to subscribe to my channel. I am putting out brand new videos just like this one every single week to help you truly become the master of your life, your mind, and your body so that you can create the reality that you truly deserve. So go ahead, click that subscribe button and like this video while you're there. So we know that either trauma and or survival mode is causing us to be stuck at the weight that we are at. How do we let it go? So firstly, we have to start emptying that emotional bucket that we talked about before. We actually have to start healing our trauma. Now, there's a couple ways that you can do this. You can work with a trauma-informed coach or therapist like myself, who uses tools like NLP or hypnosis or other tools to get into the unconscious mind. And you want to get into the unconscious mind to heal trauma at the deepest possible level. Unfortunately, talk therapy isn't going to go that deep unless your therapist also knows tools like somatic experiencing, neurofeedback, or EMDR. But we need to get into the unconscious mind to truly start to heal that trauma. You may like to start on your own doing things like guided meditations, and I have plenty of those on my channel to help you start the journey. The other thing that you can do is you can write a letter to the people who have caused you pain or trauma throughout the years. What you can do is just dump all the negative emotions that you've been holding on to, say everything you've ever needed to say in that letter, and then go ahead and burn the letter. I will just say, because you're using fire, disclaimer, myself, my company, and anybody associated with my company is not responsible for any property damage or personal injury, so please use fire safety. When you burn that letter, it is a very cathartic way to watch your old emotions be released. But we absolutely have to do some work to start healing the trauma. The second thing is we need to recalibrate the nervous system. We need to show the nervous system that we are safe, that we are not in famine, that we are not being chased by a bear, and that we don't have to be in this hypervigilant, always alert state of mind. Now, I have a root chakra guided meditation on my channel that will help you start to build that feeling of safety in the body. You can also sit down and either feel into your body what it would feel like to be safe, or you can write out on a piece of paper the things that allow you to feel safe in your life, the relationships that feel safe, the amount of money in your bank account that allows you to feel safe, What are the things that cause a bubble of safety around you? Because ultimately, when we feel safe, then we can start to build and thrive from there. But if we're missing that feeling of safety and security, then everything else becomes significantly harder. And in some cases, our body and our mind just won't let us go there. We also want to bring in a mindfulness practice to help us start being more present in the moment and to start recognizing where we're falling back into old self-sabotage or stress addiction patterns. So you can look at things like meditations, and I recommend, if you've never meditated before, I recommend starting with some guided meditations. You can look at doing some journaling, and I have journal prompts in the description below, as well as videos of journal prompts on my channel. You can look at spending time in nature. Spending time in nature is a great way to start to slow down our system. Ideally, you won't have your phone or any tech with you, or you'll have it on airplane mode. But time in nature really allows us to get this feeling of being grounded and to slow our system down so that we can be present in the moment. If you are going to spend time in nature, take it one step further and go barefoot. Go barefoot in the dirt, go barefoot on the grass, and allow your body to receive the ions that we need to receive from the earth that we can't get anywhere else. Sleep and good, clean water are also going to be imperative to you helping your body come out of survival mode. So aim for 8 hours of sleep a night and a minimum of 2 liters of water per day before you do any learning, thinking, or exercise. When you start to make these changes, then you'll see that your body and your mind will allow you to start letting go of that weight so that you can achieve your health and fitness goals. Now, if you want more tools to help you turn off that negative voice in your head and more exercises that are going to help you start to let go of this old trauma and emotional baggage, I would love to have you join me in my 6-day Mind Mastery Challenge. This is a totally free challenge, and I've pulled together 6 of the most powerful exercises and worksheets that I use with my clients to help them get dramatic and long-lasting results. All you have to do to get instant access is go to nlpworksheet.com or click on the link in the description below. Thanks for watching.